At 82, I've learned that the quietest rooms can hold the loudest regrets. The silence here is not just the absence of sound, but the echo of all the moments I once took for granted. The laughter of grandchildren, the clatter of dishes in my own kitchen, the gentle creak of the old floorboards beneath my feet. Each day I sit surrounded by memories that feel both close and impossibly far away, like sunlight filtered through a dusty window. I traded my own four walls, filled with laughter and memories, for these sterile, anonymous ones. I thought I was unburdening my family, making a sensible choice for my final chapter. I told myself it was practical, that I was sparing my children the worry, the responsibility, the guilt. I imagined they would visit often, that I would find new friends, that I would adapt. But the truth is, the walls here are thin, and yet they separate me from everything that made my life feel real. The photos on my nightstand are a lifeline, but they cannot replace the warmth of a hug or the sound of a familiar voice calling my name from the next room. But in trying to protect them, I sacrificed the very essence of myself. I became a guest in my own story, watching life unfold from the sidelines. The days blend together, marked by routine and repetition, and I find myself longing for the chaos and comfort of my old home. This isn't a story of blame, just a whisper from the other side of a decision many may face. I want others to know that the cost of peace of mind can sometimes be the loss of the small joys that make life worth living. It's about what happens when you give away the keys, not just to your house, but to your life. The choice to leave behind everything familiar is not just a practical one, it's a deeply emotional journey. I hope that, if you ever stand at this crossroads, you'll remember that the weight of a single choice can echo for a lifetime. Sometimes the hardest decisions are the ones that ask us to let go of who we are, in the hope of protecting those we love. Freedom, I've learned, is the quiet authority over your own morning, the small choices that shape your day. There's a gentle dignity in deciding when to rise, how strong to brew your coffee, or which song to hum as you move about your kitchen. These rituals, so easily overlooked, are the threads that stitch together a sense of self. In my own home, I was the architect of my mornings, the curator of my routines. The world outside could be unpredictable, but within those walls I was in command of the little things that made me feel alive and whole. Here, that dance is over. My life is partitioned by schedules, not desires. The clock dictates when I wake, when I eat, when I rest. Activities are planned for me, and my days are mapped out in advance, leaving little room for spontaneity or whim. The calendar on the wall is filled with cheerful handwriting, but it's not my handwriting. The choices are made by others, and I'm expected to follow along, a participant in someone else's choreography. The rhythm of my days is no longer my own. The kitchen, once my sanctuary, is gone. Meals arrive on trays, stripped of soul. The aroma of onions sizzling in a pan, the satisfaction of tasting a sauce and adjusting the seasoning. These are memories now. Food is no longer an act of creation, but a routine delivery, a necessity met with efficiency. I miss the clatter of pots, the freedom to snack at midnight, the joy of sharing a meal I prepared myself. Now, I eat what is given, when it is given, and the flavors seem to fade along with my sense of agency. Walks are supervised, books are chosen for me, and privacy is a memory. Even the simple act of wandering down a hallway is now a monitored event, a privilege granted rather than a right. The books I read are selected from a limited shelf, and sometimes even my thoughts feel observed. My room is small, my window a narrow view of the world I once roamed freely. The solitude I once cherished has been replaced by a constant, watchful presence. Surrounded by people, I've never felt more alone. The nurses mean well, but their routines erode my autonomy. There is a kindness in their voices, a practiced patience in their hands, but their care is a double-edged sword. Every pill handed to me, every reminder to sit or stand, is a reminder of what I've lost. The noise of the common room, the constant movement of staff and residents only amplifies the silence inside me. I am seen, but not truly known. The loss isn't about big freedoms. It's the death of 1,000 small choices. It's the inability to decide what to wear, when to nap, or which memory to linger on in the quiet moments. Each day I am offered options, but they are narrow, pre-approved and safe. The world has become smaller, not because I have aged, but because my choices have been quietly taken from me, one by one, until I am left with only the illusion of control. Each thread of independence pulled away leaves me a little less whole. I feel myself unraveling, not in a dramatic way, but in the slow, almost invisible loss of the everyday decisions that once defined me. I am still here, but I am not the same. The world sees an old person in a chair, but inside, I am mourning the quiet authority I once held over my own life. In this place, surrounded by care, I am learning that the self is not lost all at once, but in gentle, persistent tugs, until what remains is only a memory of freedom. There's a chair in my room, once filled with laughter and visits, now mostly empty. Time stretches, visits dwindle, and understanding doesn't fill the void. Photo albums become my companions, reminders of a life once full. The loneliness here is sharp, surrounded by people, yet utterly alone. Missed calls sting, and later becomes an empty promise. You feel like a relic, watching life rush by from the sidelines. The empty chair is a silent witness to being forgotten. My hands, once strong and sure, built homes, fixed broken things, and held the people I loved. They were calloused from years of work, each scar and wrinkle a story of purpose, of days spent creating and caring. Now, these same hands rest quietly in my lap, their strength faded, their purpose uncertain. The tools I once gripped gather dust in the shed, untouched for years. I sometimes trace the lines on my palms, remembering the feeling of wood, earth and warmth. But now, my hands are soft, idle and searching for meaning in the quiet. My wife's garden was once a living tapestry, vivid colours, fragrant herbs and the gentle hum of bees. She would spend hours tending to each plant, coaxing life from the soil, her hands always busy, always nurturing. Now the garden outside our window is overgrown, wild with weeds, and the only flowers inside are plastic, gathering dust on the sill. The air is still, the scent of earth replaced by the faint smell of disinfectant. Sometimes I see her gaze linger on those artificial blooms, her eyes searching for the life that once filled our days. The activities here are meant to fill our time, bingo, crafts, group games, but they feel hollow, like echoes of a life that's slipping away. We sit in circles, shuffling cards or moving pieces, but our minds wander elsewhere. The laughter is polite, the engagement forced. These distractions are a thin veil over the emptiness, a way to pass the hours rather than truly live them. I long for the days when my time was my own, when every moment had meaning and every task felt necessary. Leisure was once a reward for a day's hard work, a chance to rest, to reflect, to enjoy the fruits of my labour. Now, idleness stretches before me like a long, empty road. The hours crawl by, marked only by the slow ticking of the clock and the shifting of light through the window. What was once a precious respite has become a slow poison, eroding my sense of self. I find myself lost in thought, searching for purpose in the silence, wondering how I became so unmoored from the life I once knew. We were all vital once. Builders, teachers, parents, friends. Our lives were woven together by shared purpose and connection. Now we sit side by side, our pasts vivid in memory, but faded in the present. The photographs on the wall show us smiling, full of life. But those moments feel distant, almost unreal. We are surrounded by others, yet often feel alone, our stories untold, our contributions forgotten. The gap between who we were and who we are now grows wider with each passing day. The loss of purpose is a quiet death, a slow fading of the spirit. The future here feels like a repetition of today, each day blending into the next, marked only by meals and medications. The hallways are silent, the rooms dim, the only sound the steady tick of the grandfather clock. I wonder if anyone notices how the light in our eyes dims, how our voices grow softer. The world outside moves on, but inside, time stands still, and hope becomes a fragile thing. I once built a cradle for my grandchild, shaping each piece of wood with care and love. I remember the joy of seeing new life, of feeling needed and important. Now, I hold a remote, flicking through channels that blur together, searching for something to fill the emptiness. The cradle sits empty, a relic of a time when my hands and heart were full. I wonder if I will ever feel that sense of purpose again, or if it has slipped away for good. The silence between activities is the sound of purpose draining away. It is in these quiet moments that the weight of loss settles in, the loss of work, of connection, of meaning. I sit and listen to the hush, remembering a life that was once busy and full. Now the days are long, the rooms are quiet, and I am left searching for a reason to keep going, hoping that somewhere, somehow I can find purpose again. I walked in here on my own, believing this place would help me stay strong. But the decline came fast. Necessity for movement vanished, and so did my strength. Everything was done for me, and my body learned to be still. The walker, then the wheelchair, became my companions. The exercise room sits empty, intentions forgotten. I see photos of a stronger me, and the change is shocking. I came to avoid being a burden, but the system accelerated my decline. Health is more than safety. It's vitality, and I traded it away. Dignity is woven into privacy and small, unobserved moments. Here, privacy is a suggestion, not a right. Staff enter at will, and my life is on display. Needing help with the most intimate acts is a deep, burning shame. Even choosing what to wear is no longer mine. Constant interruptions tear at my autonomy. You build walls inside your mind to protect what's left of yourself. The loss of dignity cuts deeper than any physical pain. I told myself this move was temporary, but some doors are hard to reopen. The house is gone, the past dismantled, and there's nowhere to return. Resignation creeps in. The energy to fight fades. You adapt, become institutionalized, and the hope of leaving feels foolish. The system is a one-way street. Leaving is daunting, so you stay. You tell your family you're fine, because the truth is too heavy. This isn't a chapter, it's the epilogue. The realization that the path back is gone is the heaviest burden. I don't regret aging. Each wrinkle is a marker of a life lived. But I regret believing this was my only option, trading chaos for sterile order. The greater burden is the quiet unhappiness of feeling put away. True care is about preserving spirit, not just safety. My story is a whisper. Ask the hard questions. Fight for dignity and purpose. Don't let the final chapter of a beautiful life be written by someone else.